Good day, everyone. Happy Monday. Guess if you're watching this shortly after I made it, it's Monday probably no matter where you're at. So no matter what the time change, even Australia, it should be Monday right now. So I made a video yesterday about how the internet is fake. Well, today I'm going to go further and show you that pretty much the whole world is fake. Everything you see, everything people think is public opinion, the whole bit. And what I'm talking about is paid protesters and also agent provocateurs. I'll talk a little bit about that. Some people have never heard that term, and that's a very important thing to know about, especially if you go near protests, because they're dangerous. They're severely dangerous. And a lot of times they're law enforcement dressed up as black bloc, as they call it. So that might be another term you never heard. Black bloc is those protesters you see running around, throwing bricks, Molotov cocktails, whatever, and they're all dressed in black. Faces are masked. The black bloc, they call them. Antifa, that's their actual organization's name. First thing to know about these people is they're not doing it out of the goodness of their heart or because they believe in some cause. They're being paid. Okay, this is the age of paid protesters. And I'm going to provide, as they say, I brought receipts. So I put something in the description. It's a channel called ACAD Daily. The guy that does it is one of the guys on Podcast of the Lotus Eaters. If you've ever heard of that channel, that's a pretty big one. UK channel. It's an excellent channel. Some really good commentary on that one. But this is this guy's solo channel. He does this one himself. And he's talking about rent-a-mobs. Basically, if you have a cause or well, let's say you want to manufacture consent for something. That's how Edward Bernays put it. If you want to sway the public's opinion in some way, well, you just organize a protest and you make it look like everyone else. Look what everyone else thinks. Look, they're running around with their signs, and the signs are all made up for them, delivered to them. They're all paid. Look at that video in the description if you want the proof. It's called Crowds on Demand. That's just one of the places you can hire a crowd. Did you ever notice, well, maybe you haven't watched these kind of videos, but if you watch videos where people go to protests and ask questions, the people have no idea how to answer them because they're only there because they're being paid. They don't even know what the cause is. They have no idea, completely clueless, and don't even care if they're doing damage to the world. They're there to get their money. Crowds on demand. And when you watch that video, you'll see they're basically saying, we can help you deceive the whole world. If you want to deceive people, if you're into deception, we're the place for you. It's just mind-blowing that people will do this. Now, agent provocateurs, what are they? You can hire them too. Agent provocateurs are the ones that stir up the shit. Okay, they're the ones that, like I say, a lot of times they're even law enforcement agencies or law enforcement officers. They do that because they want a reason to get heavy-handed with the crowd. So now this wouldn't be, this would be a real crowd. Okay, so the cops want to go in and bust heads. They need an excuse to do so. So some of them will dress up in black bloc and go in and cause all kinds of trouble. The cops say, oh, look what's going on. We got to go in there and start busting heads now. So that gives them their excuse that they're looking for. They go in and they start busting heads. That's agent provocateurs. Either the law enforcement themselves will do it, or people can actually hire these people. You can hire an agent provocateur, and they're professional protesters. That's what they do. Professional. They're thugs. Okay, I'm going to call it like it is. They're thugs. There's nothing professional about these people. They don't have any brains in their head at all. They don't even know what they're doing. They have no idea what the real cause is. They might be supporting some evil corporation. That might be who hired this crowd, because they want to, that's what goes on all the time, actually. And if they only knew it, they're going on about anti-fascist and all this, or against fascism. That is fascism. When corporations are colluding with governments and manufacturing consent and doing all that stuff they do, that is the definition of fascism. So it makes me laugh all the time watching these people. We're against the fascists. No, you're not. You are the fascists. You are the fascists when you're doing that. Going to a protest and being paid to do it just to sway everybody's opinion and make it look like all these people, this is what they think. No, it isn't. They don't even know what to think. They just stand there with their signs and chant something that they're told to chant. The world is fake. Okay? The internet's not the only thing that's fake. The world is fake. Everything you see, campaigns on social media, it's the same thing. Paid. These are paid influencers and propagandists who go on there. They don't really believe the things they say. You give them the right amount of money, they'll say anything you want. That's really as simple as it is. But these paid protesters, some of them are getting really dangerous now because, I think they pay them extra to get violent sometimes, and violent they are, man. So it was just a big Christian bunch that was at a rally, and Antifa came in and just started smashing heads, just like that. They were paid to do so. That's always the case. Now, who pays these people? Well, the biggest culprit in the world, there's a couple. Billy Boy, again, of course, he organizes these all the time. But George Soros is the main guy through his Open Society, is what it's called. You go online, look up Open Society, George Soros's website, which you can drill down into forever and ever and find more and more and more. It's all subgroups of communist stuff. It's communist stuff, totally. And he's the one who's forking over all the money most of the time for these protesters. During COVID, when the big protests really started, the Summer of Love or whatever they call it, and we had this place, Chaz, where they blocked off a certain part of the city and said, this is our territory, this is our new city, and blah, blah, just crazy stuff going on. He was supplying pallets of bricks for the protesters to throw. Sometimes to attack the good people with the bricks, like to do damage to them, and other times to make it look like the good guys were the ones throwing the bricks. So this is where the deception comes in, agent provocateur stuff. Because you see somebody at a protest dressed a certain way, acting a certain way, that doesn't mean that's who they actually are. This is something the military does. I mean, in Syria, the Americans dressed up their soldiers like the Syrian army and then did a sarin gas attack. Made it look like it was Assad attacking his own people. Nope. It turned out it was the Americans, and they were dressed like the Syrian army. This is a tactic that's been used many times. You want to make someone look bad? That's how you frame them. Pretend you're them and go do some bad shit. That's what happens. And that's what they're doing at these protests. January 6th, the most famous one of all from the last decade, or even longer than that, I guess. Very famous day. Well, guess what they filmed people doing? The instigators, the bad ones, paid protesters, paid thugs. They caught them in the woods. They filmed them getting changed into Trump gear, into Trump supporter clothes with their mega hats and mega shirts and all this. And then they go out and act like total thugs. Well, it's the Trump supporters. No, it wasn't. They were seen and filmed in the woods changing into that right before the whole thing happened. So the Trump supporters you see there, and if you've ever watched a Trump rally or a protest with Trump supporters there, they're peaceful. They're not thugs. They are totally peaceful. And that's actually what changes the minds of people on the other side a lot of times. They're at these protests over and over, and it's always that side that's violent, and the Trump side is like, they're calm and peaceful and nice and welcoming. They'll have conversations with people. That's not where you see the violence. So in order to make everybody think that that's the violent ones, paid protesters, agent provocateurs. The world is fake. The world is fake. What you think you're seeing, you got to look really good and say, is that really what I think it is? Or is there some shady stuff going on? And after a while, you'll develop a bit of an instinct for it, and you can sniff it out. It's not really that hard to see, because when people are doing this kind of thing, they don't really know how to act. They think they're going to look like Trump supporters, but anybody who knows what Trump supporters act like, they don't act like that. They definitely don't. There's another good example of something that's completely fake that was meant to smear anybody on the right is Westboro Baptist Church. They want the world to hate Christians. So the CIA created the Westboro Baptist Church, and that crazy bunch of hillbilly nuts that, well, they're actors. That's what they are. They're not even Christians, probably. They're actors, completely actors. And then they go to these protests where, well, they were going to funerals where soldiers died and saying, good that he died and all this, holding these signs up, making it look like it was evil Christians. That Christians don't act like that. I've never met a single Christian that acts like that, period. And yet, according to the media and stuff, all Christians act like this. Really, I haven't seen that in my life, and I'm a Christian myself, so it's funny how I've never seen it. Christians I know are feeding the homeless and doing God's work. Never saw them act like that. There's nothing even biblical about the way they act. They just act like complete nutcases, right? But it's CIA. It's a psyop. That's what Westboro Baptist is. It's all the same thing as what I'm talking about now. It's deception. It's a fake world. The war that's being fought, it's a war about public opinion mostly. It's about propaganda and deceiving people into thinking this side is evil. Look at the things they're doing. In Canada here, we had somebody carrying around a Nazi flag and at the Freedom Convoy. So the Liberals could say, look, they're Nazis, they're Nazis. They hired the guy. The Liberals hired the guy to walk around with that Nazi flag. And they got caught doing that too. It's always that. It's always that. When you see somebody right in the middle of a protest doing everything they can do to make that side look bad, it's probably not real. It's probably fake. And when you see a big crowd walking around with these perfect professional signs, they're all made for them and delivered to them, and then they're bussed right there to the protest and let off and, okay, boys and girls, go do your stuff. I swear to you, Crowds on Demand. Check out the video in the description. Give that guy some love too. He's a great podcast. Podcast of the Lotus Eaters is really good too. I really like that one. There's always different people on it. They must have 20 or 30 different dudes that go on there and give commentary, and it's usually 3 of them at a time, and they're pretty funny and entertaining. So I like that one too. But that one's called A Cad Daily. Very worthwhile. That very video right there will tell you everything that I just told you is 100% true, and with proof from the guy who owns the company and everything. I mean, he even talks about it. So be careful when you go to protests, because the world is fake.